So I'll show a variety of end user experiences, what it would be like to use Winshuttle on a day-to-day basis. The first will be a mass creation example where we'll be extending some existing customer master records to a new sales area. And keep in mind that you're able to use Winshuttle for any of your master data creation and extension needs. So a similar process could be followed for extending material masters to a new plant or vendor masters to an additional purchasing order. Next, I'll move on to what we call a round trip scenario. So in SAP, after you've created your master data, rarely will it just stay stagnant. In this case, we'll have received an updated product catalog from one of our vendors. So we'll need to update the manufacturer part numbers. So I'll grab the current data from my SAP system. So I'll have the latest and greatest set of material information that I'll need. And I'll go ahead and update them with the new manufacturer part numbers. Lastly, I'll be showing a mass update scenario where we'll add some long text to vendor master records. Long text can be generally challenging to work with in SAP, and Winshuttle makes it very easy to be able to add long text, whether it's standard or custom, to your master data objects. So I have my customer extension workbook open. So again, this is a mass creation example. We're looking at an Excel sheet here, and we have all of this information related to customer master extension. So here's a bit about general information about the customer, so I know which ones I'm extending. Here's some additional extension information, the actual sales area specific data that I want to create. Now, because this is an Excel file, you can take full advantage of all of the functionality that Excel offers. So if you wanted to build in formulas or use macros or build drop-downs, anything that would help your users fill out their data more accurately, you can feel free to do that, because this doesn't have to be a flat file like an LSMW. It's a true Excel file, so you're free to use all of the built-in functionality. So as an end user, I've grabbed the template and I've filled out the information on what I need to extend. And what's nice about this now is that I don't have to go into SAP and start manually typing all this in. Once I've put my data in like I've done here, I'm ready to start interacting with SAP directly from this Excel file using this Excel add-in. So what we've done here is we've taken an XD01 extension recording and embedded it into the spreadsheet. And this is what allows me to have that direct interaction with SAP from this Excel file. So at this point, what are my options? The first thing I can do is validate my data against SAP. So validation, like the word implies, is to just test and confirm whether my data is okay. So I'll go ahead and click validate, and I'm prompted to select the system that I want to validate against. And I'm also prompted to put in my credentials. And this means that we're using my existing SAP authorization. So if I wasn't allowed to perform this transaction in SAP, again, it's XD01, I would not be allowed to do so with Winshuttle. And this would be during validation or a regular run. So your security team and your internal controls team do not have anything to worry about, as anyone using Winshuttle cannot get around their regular access controls. So essentially what we're doing here is we're sending the data to SAP to see whether SAP likes it or not. But we're not saving anything yet, so nothing's been extended. So we're mimicking what would happen if I would actually try to enter this type of data into SAP, and we'll see whether my data is successful. If SAP does not like any of my data, it will return the error in the same way that you would see in SAP, like we see in these two right here. So I put these errors here on purpose, so you can see these two rows that have been highlighted with orange here. And so I can go ahead and correct it now. So this is one of the bad values here. Now, if I wasn't sure what to enter, I also have an option of doing a lookup. So I have my cursor here. I click on lookup values, and it will show me the F4 lookup values of that field. There we go. So it's the same list that I would be shown if I was directly in SAP, and I can go ahead and select which option that I want here. So I've corrected my data. Let's say I've validated everything again, corrected any errors, and now I'm ready to go ahead and run into SAP. Now I'm going to leave an error here on purpose, but now I'm going to go ahead and hit run, and this time it will post into SAP and actually go ahead and extend these customers. So as you can see here on the left, I'm getting that direct feedback from SAP that a customer was extended, but you'll notice that in one of the rows I left that error, and you can see that it's highlighted in orange. So now what do I do with this error? Now, if you've worked with more technical tools that are used to upload data into SAP, you'll know that sometimes these errors are in a separate sheet, or if this fails, then the whole job fails. But you'll notice that that didn't happen here using Winshuttle. The nice thing about using our error management capability is that you can just go ahead and fix the field or fields that had errors on that particular row, and then you can just rerun things. But it'll only execute the lines that had previously errored out. So what I can do here is I can go ahead and correct that, and I'll switch to run only errored rows. And then you'll see that all it does now is only run in the one customer that had previously errored out, this one right here. So now we have extended all of the customers that we need. So now I'll just go into SAP here. I think it was 05. And so now I'm in my data, and if I go to account changes here, you can see that the sales data was changed by me with today's date. It also captures the time. So you can see that all of the tracking that's done on the SAP side is still maintained. You don't lose any of that by using Winshuttle. So I've just shown you how you can upload mass data into SAP directly from an Excel spreadsheet. In this case, it was extending customer masters, and all the while ensuring accuracy of your data and using the existing security in SAP. So this is a round trip example where we'll get live data out of SAP, make some changes to it, and then upload it to SAP. So as you can see here, I don't have any data yet, but I do have some labels here at the top that tell me, what these columns will contain eventually. So the first thing that I need to do is to extract some data out of SAP. And so what we've done is defined a material master extract. So when I hit run, I'm being prompted to fill out some information. So it's basically asking me, what type of material records do I want to see? Because we don't want to just let the user have, some kind of blanket extraction tool grab me everything, because that isn't necessarily very meaningful for them. We want to give the user some ability to pull a certain selection of materials that they're interested in. So we can allow them to put in some information such as MRP controller, material number range, plant number. We can put in, a variety of things that will allow them to pull out the desired data. So I'm going to look at a range of material numbers here for a specific MRP controller. with this asterisk that you can see that the MRP controller value is required. If I try to leave it blank, it errors out, tells me that I need to fill out everything. So now I will go ahead and put myself back as the MRP controller and hit run. So now we're extracting all of the materials that fit that particular search. And again, we're looking at material master records here, but you could extract any type of master data within SAP, or really anything that lives within the tables. And again, we're using your SAP user credentials, so I'll only be able to extract data as long as I'm able to normally see that within SAP. So as you can see, here are my records that are returned. There's 55 of them here. And we're seeing that in this case, we've received a new vendor catalog that contains new manufacturer part numbers for our materials. So we need to update those in SAP. So in this vendor catalog tab, I have the old number as well as the new number. So we're saying this is the information that we received from the vendor. And in my main sheet, we're using a VLOOKUP to grab the new part numbers for my existing materials. Again, because we're using Excel, we can take advantage of Excel functionality like VLOOKUPs. So now once I'm ready, I can switch over to my material update, which will go ahead and put in these new part numbers. And I'll go ahead and hit run. So now I didn't show the validate again, but you could have just as easily validated here. So now I am updating these materials with the new manufacturer part numbers, and I'm getting that feedback from SAP on what's happened in column A. So again, I'm happy to show one particular field here, but you could really apply this for any of the fields that are available in your material master record that you would need to update, whether it's something where a third party has provided information for you. Perhaps you found issues with your data. Maybe there's some mistakes that need to be corrected. Whatever the case may be, you can download the current values and then upload the new values directly from one spreadsheet. So this was an example where you can use Winshuttle for round trip scenario. Again, grabbing live data from SAP, making changes, and in this case we use VLOOKUPs to help us populate the Excel with the new values, and then uploaded that new data to SAP from a single Excel file. And lastly, this is a use case for mass update where we're adding some long text to vendor master records. In this particular case, I've selected purchasing memo text, but it's really any of the long text that's available in vendor master that I could have uploaded using Winshuttle. If you have custom long text defined, you can upload those as well. Any similar long text in other master data objects can also be easily updated. And while there are multiple ways of updating long text, some of which require you to split up the long text into multiple 72-character lines, Winshuttle has added specific functionality for the master data objects to be able to easily update any long text standard or custom. And again, I've selected purchasing memo here, but anything else that was available for vendor master I could have selected. And if I wanted to add purchase order text or accounting text, all I would need to do is simply just check a box for those. I don't have to create a new recording or anything like that. We've made it very easy to add long text. So I've got my list of vendors here, their name just for visual purposes so I know who I'm updating, and then again my purchasing memo here. And I'll just go and hit run. Now this particular long text can be as long as SAP will allow. There's really no limit to it. So I just have a couple lines here, but it could be a giant block of text. As long as SAP allows you to put in X number of characters, you can go ahead and put that in this Excel file. And again, as it runs, it's letting me know in column A here that the long text has been updated. and we can see that all of our text here is saved. So this was an example of using Winshuttle to easily upload long text into vendor master records. And all of the examples that I just showed you today were all created without programming.